Hey movers and shakers, it's your friend Jay Burnham from the 7figuremovingacademy.co, and today I'm going to give you 7 reasons why your moving company is losing money. So stay tuned, we're going to get into it right after this. Hey guys, thank you for coming to another exciting episode. I am so glad that you're here, and I want to talk to you guys today about 7 reasons why your moving business is losing money. Now, this might be a bitter pill to swallow, but I'm telling you guys, if you follow a little bit of this advice,
will you please just listen to me?
You can easily make some remedies and you can actually start being profitable. All right, let's get into it. Number 1 reason, damages and loss. Inundated with people losing items or damaging equipment or the person's home or property in some manner. And these are killing you. You need to curb that. And the reason why you're having a bunch of loss and damages is training and procedures and checklists. You don't have the proper training. You haven't trained your people properly. And if you have trained them, they haven't gotten remedial training, which you should do. If you're finding out that you're finding a lot of damages and you do a report of why you're doing damages and you find that there's a certain group of people or 1 or 2 people that are damaging, and you're going to find that they predominantly damage a certain piece of furniture or equipment or something, then that will lead you down. And it comes down to keeping track of it once and actually drilling down. And then you could then retrain that person or train them properly on the proper procedures for handling that person's property and or furniture, right? And your equipment. Another places where you're losing it is loss, and loss equates to a lot of things. And loss can be just straight out theft, or you have a crew that is leaving stuff behind, like dollies, blankets, tools, rubber bands, boxes, etc. These are all things that are costing you money. And the reason why you're not having the success with this area of damages is it comes down to lack of training and or checklists and procedures. So getting in the checklists and procedures, which we've talked about in many videos in the past, will lead to a lot of great things. So you need to get into that organization and actually do that. Another thing that it tends to have losses is there's no accountability. When there's nobody in charge of something, then nobody's in charge, or everybody's in charge. And when everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge. It comes down to too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And of course, when there's nobody in charge, guess what? Nothing will get done. The guys aren't going to take the initiative, unfortunately, and this is a generality. I know there will be an exception to the rule. I'm sure somebody will leave me a comment, and I'd love you to do so. Say, my guys make sure that they pick up all of their stuff. They get everything, and I know that they do. Right? They don't. They're going to leave stuff behind. It's a cost of doing business. However, a lot of that can be prevented by having checklists and procedures that somebody has to go through, and making somebody accountable for that checklist and procedure, and making sure that there is accountability on that person, right? And the next thing is the training of the person to handle the right thing, training the person to do the checklist, training the person to do it. So that is your solution to damages and loss. Number 2, you have a piss poor closing ratio. Let's face it, you're closing like 20, 30, maybe 40% of your sales. They're coming in, all the leads that you're coming in, you get 100 sales, you're only closing 10, 20, 30, maybe 40, maybe even on the higher end, maybe 50%. That's not bad enough. But when you do like 100 estimates, you're doing 100 leads and you're only closing 50% of them or closing 50 of them, that's bad percentage. So you have closing ratios. So how do you handle that? Well, that comes down to 1, not having proper sales training. Your salespeople are not trained to handle rebuttals. What do they say when somebody says, I got to wait for my husband or my wife. I got to talk with them. Or, that's too much money. Or, Joe Blow's moving company said that they would do blah, blah, blah. How do you handle these rebuttals? This is all about training. You've got to train them in sales procedures. You've got to make sure that they're delivering value. If you don't have the skills, and I'll be the first one to admit, sales is my weak point. And I had to really work at my sales. Delivering value and being a friend and making your customer laugh will go a long way in solving all the problems that you might have in your inability. by just talking to them, answering their questions. But it comes down to training and being willing to be trained, right? So you got to have sales training. If you don't have sales training, get it in. Get with somebody in your community that is a good salesperson that can train, or hire salespeople that can actually do that too. And will actually, a good sales manager will do sales training. They will commit to sales training and be doing sales training. If you don't have a sales manager and you are the sales manager, then you need to up your sales game as well, and you need to get yourself trained. Go and do some sales courses, read some books, read any of the sales books out there, but just start training yourself on sales. Another thing that it comes down to is there's no sales support. You got salespeople out there, but there's no support. There's no one to tag in when they need a helping hand on closing the sale. Car dealerships do a great effective approach when it comes to tag teaming on sales. You get somebody who's doing a car sales, and next thing you know, I got to check with my manager. So they go over to somebody else and they do play that game. Or, they'll say, this is my sales manager. It's just some guy on the floor who's the sales manager. We know the game. They'll come in and then they'll start double teaming you on closing you for that car. Car dealerships are really good. You can apply that same approach, but having support, having somebody that is having difficulty and they know that they're having difficulty, being able to go to somebody and say, hey, I need help with the sale, or I need some training, or I need this and that and the other thing. They need that sales support. And if you're not offering that support, or if you are not getting that support for yourself, you're going to fail and you're going to lose sales. Another thing is there's little to no follow-up. And I've talked about this in many of my videos, and you should really pay attention to this. Follow-up is going to be your number one key in making sure that your sales force is really kick-ass. Follow-up is important. It's like one of the most important things you can do. CRMs will help you do it. Movegistics has a great follow-up system. I'm biased, I know. I work for Movegistics, and you can see a link down below in the description, but grab a CRM that has follow-ups. If you don't have a follow-up system in your CRM, then create one, or have your CRM create one. But you got to do follow-ups. And finally, guys, the one reason why you're losing sales is you got a shitty, crappy sales script or no sales script. You're just winging it. You're just talking off the top of your head. You're forgetting important things. You're missing vital points. You're trying to sell features versus benefits. You're not delivering value. Having a sales script is vital to proper sales, to closing those sales. When you go out to a customer's home, having a sales presentation packet is part of your sales script. Making sure that you go through and hit all the vital areas for what they need and want. Making sure that there's pages and information for whatever you want. If you're doing it over the phone, you gotta have a sales script. Movegistics, we have a complete library of sales scripts, from voicemail messages, rebuttal scripts, calling in scripts, all the scripts that you're going to need is there. Of course, you don't have to use Movegistics scripts. You can use your own, and that's totally fine. It's 100% customizable in Movegistics. But hopefully your CRM has something similar. I don't think they do, but I think Movegistics is unique in that manner. But you guys can go and have sales scripts. You should have. So if someone's giving you a rebuttal about it's too much money, you can pull out that index card or that flash card and read this script, and that is useful and usable and workable. So making sure that you have sales scripts for everything, and making sure that they're good sales scripts. I would actually spend the money and hire a sales coach. Many companies do this. Big companies from IBM, Google, and Facebook, they hire sales managers to come in and teach their salespeople how to do sales. Or if you don't have the time, there are some great services. And yes, they're a little bit of a competitor, but OnQ is a great source for moving companies to do your sales. They'll answer your phone and they will do your sales. And all they want is a small commission for doing the sales. A commission that you would pay to the salespeople anyway. So, it's really not going to be that much. They're going to do it. They're going to make a little bit of money. Their salespeople make a little bit of money. You make a lot of money. Everybody wins. So go and check them out. Number 3, your prices are too low. You're cheap. You're a low-cost mover, and that is killing you. This is why you're losing money. You're not profitable. You have to do so many moves. You got to do 10, 5, 6, 7, 8 times the amount of moves that I would do by going for the right demographic. You're being a cheap mover who's going after people that truthfully can't afford your moving services anyway. And you're trying to compete with everybody who thinks being the cheapest equates to being the best. Not true. And I get it. You're looking for quantity. You think quantity is the solution. It's not necessarily so. Not in the moving business anyway. Sometimes qualifying and going for the right demographic, going for the right people is going to be more profitable in the long run than doing 100 moves a week or a month, right? If I can do 50 jobs in a month and make just as much or more than you doing 100 moves, who's more profitable? Do the math. So guys, you're too cheap. You got to start raising your prices, or you got to start charging for those accessorials that you're delivering for free. This is what's going to do it. I guarantee you the biggest companies out there are the ones who charge the most. 2 Men in a Truck, College Hunks, Skinny Wimp Movers, Black Tie Moving. These guys are on the high end of the hourly rate moving spectrum. If you want to make money, you got to charge the higher rates. The cheaper movers are the ones who are in the 2 potheads and 2 meth heads and a pickup truck type moving companies where the truck's breaking down every other day. They're spending more money fixing the truck than they are doing the jobs. Those are the guys that are just struggling. Those are the guys and if that's you, that's because a good indicator that your prices are too low, and you need to raise your prices, and you need to start going after the demographics that can actually pay for. And that means middle to high middle to even high income homes. And that's what you really should concentrate. Going after the low cost, Section 8 type apartment buildings is not going to be your cup of tea. Now, there are people that have made money doing it, but it took a long time and it took really getting in there good. It can be done. It's going to be a hard road, true. And if you want to make good money, if you're losing money, it's probably because you're going after the Section 8 housing guys who can't afford your moving services and are trying to be really cheap anyway. So don't go after those kind of guys. Go after the guys who can afford you, the guys who can actually pay you. That's the guys are going to be, and that's where the money's going to be. Number 4, poor financial planning. This is something that I went over extensively in my video, the Make Break Point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a video right up here called the Make Break Point. I want you to go watch it. It's a bit of a long video, but it's very impactful. It's got a lot of useful information. Once you get above the Make Break Point, you're going to be good. But the point is you're not doing financial planning. You're not getting rid of bills. You don't even know where your bills are coming in. You don't know how much you're spending. You don't know what you're doing. And when you have chaos, you're going to be leading to a lot of spending that you shouldn't be doing on spending. You're going to be paying for things that you shouldn't be paying for, right? You're going to be spending money on things you shouldn't. And financial planning and having reports and keeping track of your KPIs is vital to making sure that you're going to be profitable and you're not losing money. You got to be able to keep track of those reports and keep knowing what those reports and where the leaks are in your ship so that you can plug those holes and make more money, right? So financial planning goes a long way to plugging those holes in your ship by actually laying out what you're going to spend money on, where you're going to spend money, and how much you're going to spend money, and what you're going to do with that money. That is vital, and you should be doing that quite honestly. If you don't have that financial planning in, you're going to run into problems. It's going to be chaotic, and you're going to be spending money when you think you're being frugal. You're being good with your money. You're actually not. You're actually spending money where you shouldn't be because you're not keeping track of where that money is actually draining out. You're trying to plug a hole here when that hole is really down over here, right? So you got to really understand what financial planning is. Go into those reports, find where the sieve is in your whole thing, and then do a financial plan to actually plug those holes. Another part of financial planning is setting hard, fast, doable goals and targets for your company. You've got to be able to set a sales goals. You got to set spending goals and bills goals and all these types of goals. This is part of financial planning. It's about putting in those goals, especially sales goals. If you want to make $500,000, then how do you break that down? How many leads do you need? How many closed sales do you need? How many referral sources do you need, and all that? And Lorne MacInnes from Ferguson Moving and Storage just put on the boards a couple days ago a great free document that you can have that will actually help you lay out those particular goals. So if you want to make $1 million a year or $500,000 a year, you can put that in. You can put in your sales ratio of how much you sell, and it will tell you how many leads you need, how many sales you need to close, what months you need, how many for each month. So obviously in the slow months, you're only going to make a little bit, where the summer months you need to make it up. So it really helps you setting those financial goals and targets. You should really get it. I'll leave if I can, I will leave a link in the description to that document. If not, I will definitely leave a link to Lorne and his company, and you could go take a look. Not only that, side note here, and I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just trying to help out a friend. He is looking for people to be a franchise partners with him. He's a huge franchise in Canada. He wants to expand to the United States. So if you're looking for a moving company that has everything you need, turnkey, and you want to get into something that's really good, led by great leadership, and that will help you be successful, you should check out Lorne and Ferguson Moving and Storage, and check out just considering being somebody that will be a franchisee of his company. And I tell you what, he's a great guy. I love him to death. He's a personal friend of mine. I recommend him highly. I'll definitely leave you a link to that down below in the description, but you should really check that out. One thing about financial goals is you don't communicate those goals and targets to the staff and crew in it. And everybody in your company needs to be aware of the targets and goals that you have set for your company in manner of sales and in finances and everything. You should be not only setting those goals, but sharing them with the crew. You getting the crew behind you and backing you up, it's going to make you guys go that much further. So you need to start sharing it. If you're not sharing them, you're really not doing your financial planning, because that's got to be part of any kind of plan or target that you might set in your business. So I really recommend that you do whatever you can to share those sales and target goals with your crew and staff. Number 5 is bad customer service and support and bad reputation. It says it all, right? If you have a bad reputation, you have a poor rating on Yelp or Facebook or Google Business, if you're in the community thinks of you badly, you're not going to get a lot of sales. You're not going to get people referring to you. You're not going to get people who are going to know, like, and trust you. You're not going to get those people coming to your business. It is what it is. So you got to work on customer service. Another thing where you're going to fail in that customer service is if you're being cheap on claims. If you're trying to cheap out on claims, damage claims, when they happen, you're trying to get away with paying as little as possible, you're going to lose money. That's going to actually look very poor. So you go, if you're going one of these guys, well, they only pay 60 cents per pound per item, and I don't care that we damaged their TV. They're only going to get $60. You're a dick. And guess what? Your customers are going to think you're a dick. And guess what? Those customers who think you're a dick and you treated them piss poorly, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go to 10, 20, 30 other people and say that you're a dick. They're going to leave bad reviews on Facebook and Yelp and Google. They're going to leave you anywhere they can. They're going to say that you're a dick. And guess what? You not only lost their business in the future, but you lost the business that they're going to have influence over in the future. So guys, you can't have customer service. You got to treat every customer with the utmost respect and do the best job every single time. You can't have bad customer service. You can't just answer the phone. Hello? You got to answer the phone. Hello, this is Jay Burnham. You say Moving and Storage. How may I help you today? Or is there something I can help you with today? You've got to be polite on the phone. Your people have got to be presenting themselves in a professional manner. You've got to treat their home and their property and possessions with respect. You've got to do these things so that you can get a good reputation. Having a bad reputation was one of the areas where you're going to start losing money. Number 6 is bad marketing sources. Because you're not having financial planning, because you're not keeping track of your KPIs, because you're not keeping track of the records, you don't know which marketing sources are actually returning an ROI that's conducive to profitability. You don't know that Craigslist is a crap place. Yeah, you're getting a lot of jobs from Craigslist, but they tend to bring in the piss poor customers or the cheap customers, which lead to problems in the future. Is it worth it? Or you're spending money on Yelp ads when Yelp isn't bringing you any kind of love at all. Or maybe you're buying moving company leads, which I hate going to those things. A lot of people have success with them. I'm not one of them. I never liked them. I thought they were crappy leads. But maybe you're going to some of these moving company lead providers and you're buying them for 15, 20 bucks a pop, right? How many of those leads are actually going to lead into a sale? Right? How many of those do you have to go through? How many $15, $20 leads do you have to buy before you get a sale? 10, 20, 50, 100? What is that ratio? Is it worthwhile? Or are you sending out postcards? And how is that return? You know, postcards traditionally only get 1 to 3% return rate on those. But you book one of those sales, and the sales tend to be of high quality and a lot of money. So the ROI on sending out those postcards is actually quite high, even though they don't produce a lot of quantity. So you can make a lot more money sending out postcards versus buying leads. So you really got to see where that's going. And you're paying, what you're doing is you're paying for these lead sources that are not producing the ROI. And that's siphoning money out of it. And it comes down to poor financial planning again. But that is one place where you're spending a lot of time. You really need to take the time and effort. You need to monitor and keep track of where the leads are coming from. If it's coming from referrals like realtors, mortgage brokers, if it's coming from Facebook, from Google, wherever that's coming from, you need to really keep track of it. And you need to keep track, real tight control. And you should do a monthly review of those sources and then spend your money accordingly to the ones that are producing the ROI that you need to be successful in your business. And finally, the last one, number 7, your payroll to profit is way out of whack. You're paying way too much money for payroll and you're not getting enough money in return to be profitable, right? I'm not saying you should pay your guys less. No, that's not what I'm saying. Maybe that is what you need to do. You need to hire guys in at a lower rate. That might be true, but I'm not saying that that's what you should do. What I'm saying is you got to make sure that you're going for the right demographic and that you're charging the right amount for profitability in your company. Now, where should be payroll be at? Should be 25 to 35%. Should not be higher than 35% of the final bill. For instance, if your bill is $1,000, the customer pays you $1,000, you should not pay more than $350 out for payroll. That's where you should be. If you're higher than that, you're starting to get into that area where you're losing money, right? So that tells you right now that you're going to probably need to increase rates, or you need to do something to lower that payroll cost. And if you're paying less than 25%, you probably got a lot of churn rate, a lot of turnover rate with employees because they're not going to stick around because they're getting paid way too little, which is actually costing you money because you're constantly putting money into towards hiring new people. But if you're paying about 25 to 35, that seems to be the sweet spot for most moving companies, and that's where you should be. So if you're bringing in $1,000, you want to be paying around $250 to $350 for that particular job in payroll, and that's where it should do. So your payroll is way out of whack. So this is how you do it. I've got some great videos that you should go and look at. I will try to leave them right up here, and you can go and check those out whenever you wish to do that, right? But these are the 7 areas where you're losing money. These are universal, and they could be applied to all your to any business, not just moving business, but to any business. I don't care if you're landscape or retail. These are all truisms. These are truisms that you can find all over the internet, so you don't have to take my word for it. You can see some other experts that are giving you this information that are saying the exact same thing. Guys, you know what's coming next. I like you and I love you. if you would do me a favor for me and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I thought it was a pretty good video. It's got a lot of great data. It's got a lot of useful information. I think you should really enjoy doing it. So give me a thumbs up. Make sure you leave me a comment. I'd really like to hear from you. If there's something that I did mention that you think I should have, let me know. Or if there's something I should have expanded upon, let me know that as well. And I'll make sure that I address it within the comments or make another video. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, do that now right here, and make sure you hit that bell icon at the end of the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Guys, thank you. Go and do something great today.